you not understand that this is exactly what TYT used to criticize back in the aughts about the influence of money in our media?
What's going on, you guys? Today we have Emma Vigeland dunking on TYT, Anna Kasparian, and Cenk Uygur. Emma Vigeland was recently speaking with the Vanguard where she didn't hold anything back. I'm going to be playing a clip from the interview as well as giving some background information here and there.
Be speaking to a right-winger, which we occasionally do, but it's usually us going to Tim Pool or Sam going to PBD. Sam said this to me very early on in working with him, and it's kind of changed my perspective, is you got to go in there, and the only way you be effective is you don't worry about being invited back. And because they gish gallop, because also the opportunities for voices that are on the left that aren't captured by big money are so few and far between, it's really important that you go in there with an aggressive mindset of what you're trying to get across. And you're not capitulating and ceding to their framing. You're basically challenging their ideas because their audience doesn't hear it. Their audience never hears this kind of thing. So if you have an opportunity to speak to a right-winger with a platform, it is incumbent upon you to challenge their ideas and to be aggressive in your challenging of those ideas. I'm repeating myself, but you get what I'm saying, because these opportunities are so few and far between with leftists going on those programs. It's a different tactic than I take, say, when I go on MSNBC, like I did 2 days ago, where I know a lot of liberals are listening. And I did this when I went on Pod Save America too.
Great appearance, by the way. That was great.
Oh, thank you. Like, I was emphasizing in that interview, right? The fact that I liked Elizabeth Warren in the past. Not that I ever voted for her or that I thought that she would be in any way a better president than Bernie Sanders. But when I have a more nuanced perspective on that, or I say, oh, I encourage my audience to vote Democrat, that's one thing that they really, really care about. You build just a level of trust with that audience that is mostly just afraid of Trump, right? You have to go into that with that mindset of like, they don't want Trump to win. They don't want Republicans to win. Neither do I. So I'm going to build that common ground and then try to introduce them to more progressive ideas, talk about the genocide in Gaza and how important it is, etc. So that's like, it's a different strategy based on different audiences. With a right-wing audience, you have to introduce them to new left-wing ideas and you have to cut above the noise, which is also heavily financed.
So we can see right here that Emma Vigeland, she hasn't called anyone out yet by name. She's more or less just stated her philosophy on the way that she goes about these right-wing shows, her appearances, and like it or love it, I mean, she's making a good point. You're going to be on these shows and people are going to want to, push you around. They want to have you compromise at any given moment so that eventually you just become a light version of the right. That's what the Democratic Party basically has been, because they've always been a little bit more, open-hearted, open-minded, and we see how far that has gotten the Democratic Party. It just become just a mirror image of the conservative movement at this point.
It's on the right. And that means that you don't have to worry about access. You can't worry about getting invited back. I think Kyle Kalinske has talked about how he's changed his approach too, and based on new information, because he was more doing what I was doing or what I'm advocating for with liberals when he was going on Joe Rogan's podcast. And Rogan, like back when Kyle was doing that, was not as extreme as he is now. So, no. I mean, I think Michael Brooks would talk about that too, where he thought he was more into that kind of idea of speaking to them where they are. But now Rogan's in a different place. So my point is just like, with someone that far right, with someone that disgusting, I mean, Marjorie Taylor Greene is as racist as it gets. She is a Nazi, like straight up in our political context. Just because she's isolationist based on likely anti-Semitic views doesn't mean that that's somebody who we should bring into our coalition of media voices on the internet, which, to go back to your point, I forget if it was Zach or Gavin that said it, but like, that is so different than if you're in power and you have hard power and you need votes to get legislation across. Platforming is not working with somebody in Congress. Although if you have delusions of grandeur, that might be something that you think.
Yeah, well, Jinx certainly has no shortage of delusions of grandeur. I think, Emma, it's time for us to offer you our condolences, I believe. I don't know, maybe your audition tape got lost in the mail. I don't know if maybe your agent was really busy. I know you're a
My
busy lady.
agent.
You probably get calls all the time. Yeah, I'm sure there's a Jerry Maguire back there somewhere working for you.
I wish. Are you kidding me?
But we were shocked, we were stunned that you weren't invited to be a member of this panel of left-wing voices to kind of rival The View. This new show, Her Take, over on the Valuetainment Network. It's a bold new talk show that brings together outspoken and dynamic women, sounds like you, to unpack the most important stories shaping our world with a more contemporary and balanced perspective than legacy daytime panels. Jillian, Mike.
Right here, the Vanguard. It's obvious, just poking the bear, very tongue-in-cheek. I believe all three, if you want to include Anna Kasparian, all four of these women, they are all Republican right-leaning. There's not one liberal in this group, and it's hosted on valuetainment.com. I don't know how you can be a part of the homo progressives on the Young Turks as well as be a part of this. I don't know whether she just thinks that she is the one to build this bridge. She's the one to bring it all together, whether she is that full of herself or not. But yeah, this is a pretty big move by Anna Kasparian.
Michaels, Anna Kasparian, some lady Amy Dangerfield, Lindsay Lee, the most recent Why I Left the Lefter. Some of the topics that they've covered so far, Emma, would be how Gavin Newsom has destroyed the entirety of California. How trans people are really weird and how there's way too many letters in LGBTQIA, and what even is a two-spirit anyway? Why are they just making up things now? Is that a furry? We've heard a lot about, how we've got to deport everyone. Well, maybe we don't have to deport everyone. Like, I'm pretty liberal, I'm just curious, had you come across Her Take before? And do you have any thoughts to share on, Anna Kasparian's new direction as TYT kind of circles the drain? It doesn't seem like they're going to be in business for much longer.
Really? I mean, well, I wouldn't be. I guess that's not shocking to me. I haven't watched Her Take. I saw the promo and I see the cast of characters. I don't know who Amy Dangerfield is, although I laughed because I heard it before and it sounds like Rodney Dangerfield, which whatever. But
I thought that every single time I've had to say her name.
I wonder if they're related. It would be interesting. Lindy Lee is such a lunatic that it's hilarious. So annoying. Like, I'm sorry, but you're gonna, well, here. Anna and I had previously talked about I'm sure she would frame it as like, I wanted to work with her. And like, that was definitely something that I was interested in.
Anna wanted to work with Lindy?
Or with me together before this happened, you know? And so,
interesting.
This isn't jealousy. I'm just putting that out there, like, as to, because of if whatever. I mean, if there's criticisms of me commenting on this, I'm just saying, like, we had talked about working together previously, and she had kind of decided to go in a different direction last time I'd heard from her.
A right-wing direction, working for Valuetainment.
I didn't know what that direction was, and here we are some time later, and there you go. It's just like this simulated thing of that these are different perspectives, as if they're not like the exact same flavor of the same perspective is shocking to me. And I can't even believe that you could go into some sort of talk show arrangement with someone like Lindy Lee, or platforming her, who was in October dancing or posing alongside Biden and Kamala Harris, being so enthusiastic, and now she's supporting the mass deportation under the Trump administration. Like, how do you not understand that this is exactly what TYT used to criticize back in the aughts about the influence of money in our media, and how there's these financial incentives to have certain opinions? Like, that's exactly what Lindy Lee represents in such an acute sense.
Yeah, just look at how cheap and shitty this is. Emma, you have had a far more...
There we have it, you guys. I mean, it's clear that people are starting to jump ship, switch sides. It's all... I think it's due to the fact that, these values that both parties have stood for they're both really not even starting to. They've completely crumbled. They've completely broken down in shape and form. And now you have a bunch of people that are just going and switching sides to play for clicks, to say, hey, look, both sides are bankrupt, but I might as well get the fans on this side. I might as well go appeal to these people because I can, still spew my hatred towards immigrants, towards anyone that I want to, and they're going to cheer me on. They actually really enjoy whenever I talk down on, the more marginalized groups. They enjoy whenever I talk down on trans rights, whenever I say that trans people don't deserve rights. And that's... when that's fueling your entire, political change, political shift, that's not a good sign. It's not a good sign that people are just leaving an entire party, an entire ideology of thought, just so that they can spew more hatred, spew more ignorance. I mean, I don't know about you guys, but to me that shows that this system has broken down fully. To see what comes up from these ashes, to see if we have someone that can embody true progressive values and start to, whip this party into shape. Let's see who can do it. Let me know what you guys think in the comments. It's another day in the progressive way.